SJ. Welcome to Mvskoke Radio, your weekly source for tribal and community news, interesting guests and discussions, plus a local events calendar. Isn't it? Well, it could be. We are actually training her as my protege here, not necessarily a co-host, but a protege, co-producer, so we can have somebody on vacation.
Yes, he's going to take some time off next week and put me right on the spot.
Right, so if it crashes and burns, folks, you can blame her.
I'll take the blame.
Okay, but in the meantime, I had put together a couple of things for today's program. We will be listening to sounds and people from the Christmas market held recently up in Glenpool. Kind of an idea of how the economy is dealing with some people, some Christmas shopping, and why do they come to this thing? Why is this such an important event? And in the second portion of our program, we will be talking about direct assistance. Now, we are already getting calls from people who want to apply for the $2,000 in assistance through the tribe's 2022 program. But we will have Miranda Carmen, the Secretary of Community and Human Services, come in to talk about that program. I could sure use $2K, couldn't you, Morgan?
I want my money too.
We'll join the crowd. Well, anyway, we've got a kind of a tight program here, so let's go ahead and listen to the Christmas market.
I'm Trisha Fields, and I'm the owner of Autumn Star Catering, and I'm the event organizer and coordinator of the Native American Christmas Market and Indian Sweetheart Market, Autumn Star Indian Art Festival, and various other little events that I organize.
Well, tell me about this one. What's the idea behind everything here?
The idea behind the Native American Christmas Market is to showcase our local Native talent in our community here in Oklahoma, mostly in northeastern, central Oklahoma is mostly where people come from. But we do have people come from Minnesota, from California, down south, out east and west, but mostly around here. And I just wanted to give a place to showcase our talent, our musicians, and to highlight Native foods. So I first started this 10 years ago as a way to make money and supplement for Christmas.
Let me ask you, what kind of feedback do you get from the vendors? Is it good for their sales, their year? How does it rank?
Yes, I get lots of good feedback. Like with anything, there's good and not so good feedback. Sometimes people don't do as well as others, but again, it's like how you want to promote yourselves, and really just putting your best foot forward and being friendly to the customers, or not being so shy. You have to market yourself and sell yourself out there. But for the most part, I would say that the artists and the vendors are satisfied and pleased with me, because they return to every event that I have. And sometimes people will pay me. Like today, I already have some people that are trying to pay me for my next year's show, and they don't even know what the fee is, and they'll say, if it raises, just let me know and I'll pay the difference. I have people tell me, this was the best show we've done all year. We did better than such and such show, and that's usually our best show. Or they'll say, this was it, girl. This was everything. We did well. We got lots of orders, and you just made our year.
The emphasis in the past few years has been to verify the identity of artists, of Indian artists, yes, and the authenticity. Mm-hmm. And that's become a pretty big thing nationwide.
Right.
A lot of imposters being busted,
mm-hmm,
which I'm glad to hear. What kind of steps do you take with the vendors that you work with here?
Yes, I think that's the American Indian Arts and Crafts Act, I believe. So yeah, I've been hearing about that since I was a kid because, like I said, being with my grandparents and hearing about those things and reading different things. And I'm very proud of who I am, and I take offense to people when they try to pass themselves off as someone they're not. I am happy that they want to be included, you know, but I want them to be respectful and correct about it, because whenever you misrepresent yourself, you can maybe unwillingly take away from someone else who is authentic and selling genuine art. And to me, it's fraud, you know. And so I've never turned anyone away if they're not Native American, because I don't advertise all Native.
Let me ask you this. We've had a couple of real challenges in this country in the last couple of years, one of them being a virus that's just getting out of hand. And the second is some economic pressures that, you know, things are more expensive, getting backed up, things that are affecting the economy. Now, have you seen any of those impacts, either the virus or the economy?
Yes, I have. So I don't require that people be vaccinated. Last year I did require masks. I required masks of the artists and the vendors. I required masks of us in the kitchen, of our DJs or musicians, and all the participants as well. But I also furnished all the masks too if they didn't have one. And if they didn't want to wear one, then they didn't have to come in, you know, and I understand.
What about the economic end of it? Money's tighter, obviously, prices are higher. Has that affected what you see here?
Not to us. It's actually been helpful to us because people have not been able to set up at a lot of places, and they've thanked me for setting up and for being able to get out again and see people, and they get sad and lonely. These are their friends, a lot of them that are artists, and they travel and they set up, you know, event to event, and they see each other. Well, with all these events being canceled, they're not seeing their friends, their fellow artist friends or customers, and so it's nice to be able to. And a lot of them, just like other small businesses and restaurants, some of them have just discontinued their small businesses and gone on to other things. But on the other hand, it's really helped some people. And it's just like with technology. Some people can embrace it and move and learn, go forward with it. And then some people don't understand it and they don't want to do all of that. So a lot of people have thrived where they've been able to do mail out stuff and shipping orders to people, and then other people don't want to mess with that, so then they just take breaks and they will say stuff like, you know, we'll see you next time, or, you know, we're going to take a break, and that's understandable. But out here, it's really helped a lot of people, and I haven't seen anybody holding back from any sales or anything.
Final question here. This looks like a wonderful opportunity to do some Christmas shopping. Do you see a lot of that? People talk about it?
Oh, yeah. There's one lady, I cannot think of her name, but I know several years back she plans their family Christmas activities based on the weekend that we have this. She lives in California now, and she will book early. She likes that I have it early because I guess flights are cheaper, and she'll come home. They'll all come out here and shop and eat and go around together, and then in the middle of the week they'll have their Christmas together, and then she'll fly back home. But she'll buy lots of things, and everything is all Christmas. Everybody out here, we've got Christmas music, we've got DJs, they're playing regular music, but they're also doing Christmas. All of our vendors have their own things that they make, but it seems like each of them are doing also some type of Christmas items, especially like the tumblers, the bags, even some of the beadwork, and even some of the paintings as well.
What's your name? Where are you from?
My name's Adeline McIntosh. I'm from Sapapa.
Okay. What do you got out here selling today?
I've got pottery, and I had some boots and some clothes and A lot of jewelry.
What does this market mean to you? I mean, is it something you do every year? Are you just trying it out? How's it going?
Well, I do it because I'm retired now, and then a lot of the people I know come through here already, and then I get to visit with the other vendors, and then there's always somebody that comes by and says, "Oh, I just love this place. I'm glad they did this," and they're all real happy just to come and walk through here and everything.
How are your sales doing this year?
It's doing all right, fair.
The economy is kind of tight right now, and of course there's this virus thing out here that keeps people away. Do you think any of that affects you?
No, well, I've had all my shots, so I wasn't worried about it. But
Does it keep the customers away, I mean?
probably, if they got children too, that probably.
Okay, now, does this market make money for you? I mean, is it worth the time and the effort?
Yeah, I get to just to enjoy myself mostly, but getting all my stuff together and getting ready, it's fun. I like shopping.
And it seems kind of like a social occasion here too for people who haven't seen each other in a while.
Yeah, a lot of the people that I used to know younger, but then they all come to the sales and stuff.
Do you expect to have a good sale when this wraps up?
Yeah, probably. I usually do. Come out ahead from what you have to pay to set up.
Okay, that's it. Thank you very much. Kind of muffles the sound. Hi, what's your name and where are you from?
Hishjay Stango Yafki Kolaso Chio Jifkadas. My name is Yafki. I'm from Oklahoma City. I come to the native market every year just because I was telling my kids that I love to support native-owned businesses for the simple fact that all this stuff is handmade and you can't get this stuff at Walmart or Target or places like that. So this is definitely a place to come to go shopping at.
With the variety of native artists and different kind of wares they're selling, does it usually fill out your Christmas list?
Oh yes, definitely. Just because how I go shopping is if I see something and I think of that person, I get it for them compared to I got to get something for this person. So that's how I do my shopping. So I see random things and I think of a random person and I'll pick it up for them. So I don't ever have anything specific, but there's just things that's very unique that catches my eye that I feel like I had to pick up.
Do you feel good or enjoy the thought that you are supporting native artists? I mean, do all of your Christmas list get native gifts?
For the majority of the part, yes. Like I said, I do love to support native-owned businesses just because I know it can be hard at times, and it's nice to have others to support you as well. So
we've seen some tighter markets because of the virus going around, and the economy across the country is a lot tighter and a little tougher to deal with. Has that affected what you do as far as your Christmas shopping?
I can tell where it has, but then it goes back to thanks for the help of social media where people post their work online and you can be able to still shop that way too. So maybe not in-person shopping, but thanks to social media that has really helped native businesses as well.
Are you do you think you're going to be filling out your list here today?
Honestly, I'm just about done shopping. Yeah, so I already had to drop off a couple loads in the car already.
Well, you have a good holiday. Thank you.
All right,
appreciate it.
thank you.
God. Name and an ID on this.
David Bible, Southwest Trading Company.
How are you doing here today?
We're doing good. We've always enjoyed. It's been really, really busy.
Has the economy or this virus thing affected what you guys do here?
With supplies, yeah, with the supply chain, it's kind of hard with beading supplies and other goods, it's hard to get the artists to get anything in to make their crafts. So it's been a little hard. As far as people retail shopping, it seems like that it hasn't affected anything. Everybody's just kind of glad to get out and do some Christmas shopping. Probably the first time they've got to do anything in a couple years.
As we look around, we see all these different types of crafts, native artists, different tribes. Is this pretty much an economic high point for you during the year?
Yes, this show, we've been doing it for now about 6 years now, and this has always been our high point of our retail season. You know, there is a lot of different tribes within different parts of the, you know, we have some Osages, some Pawnees right across the aisle, some Delawares right next to us. So it's just, it's nice to see everybody, and it looks like everybody's been doing good from what they've been saying and the smiles on their faces.
Final question here. You know, there's been a lot of emphasis in the past few years about dealing with authentic native artists and arts and crafts laws and things like that. People are cracking down on fakes. What do you think about something like that?
Yes, I mean, I'm glad the Congress passed that and enacted that law, because there was a lot of items that were sold as made by Native Americans. So when they're saying that, there's a lot of other, I guess, countries and stuff that tries to copy our style and push it out there as authentic Native American problems. So that's always been something that has been a concern with those that are Native American. Now, policing that is a different problem, because, you know, as you look around and see the people that come that sell, you can see the new people and the other stuff that's being sold as authentic. So that's always been the problem of enforcing the law.
Okay, final question. A lot of people seem to be doing their Christmas shopping here today. Do you hear folks talking about that?
Yeah, a lot of Christmas shoppers. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people traveling this year, actually reconnecting with their families since the COVID in the last 2 years. So and they're picking up gifts, happy to see each other, and it's good. It's good to see everybody out.
Okay, Mado. Get recording here. We are in. What's your name? Where are you from?
My name is Cynthia Yerby, and I'm from Wolf, Oklahoma, which is south of Seminole, north of Ada.
What tribe?
Pardon me?
What tribe?
What tribe? I am Seminole Creek. Come this way, I'm Creek Seminole.
You know, a lot of people do that sort of thing. I'm Creek Cherokee, or in Tahlequah, I'm Cherokee Creek. The show here seems to be kind of a highlight of Indian arts and crafts season. It's its 10th year. What does this particular market mean to you?
Well, it's an honor to come to this, for one thing, and it's all native vendors, and the crowd is wonderful. They're all coming to Christmas shop, and Tricia Fields, she puts on the show, and she does such an excellent job. You want to be in one of her shows, So I really am happy to be here.
Are a lot of people doing their Christmas shopping right now, do you think?
Yeah, they are. I mean, everybody's. I had one lady standing here. Okay, I need this one for my daughter. I need this one for my son. Yeah, they're doing a lot of Christmas shopping, and they're even happier to buy it because it's handmade or, made by native people.
That seems to be a really important thing, and more so even in the last decade or so, as the laws regarding native artisans have tightened up.
That's right. Because, a lot of the shows I go to, you have to prove that you're native. You have to show CDIBs and everything, because they want authentic tribal work. And I think that's good, but we're the only people who have to prove who we are, And that kind of, sometimes that makes me mad, but yeah, at least we're finding out.
Think of it this way. Think of all the people who can't prove who they are.
Yeah, I know. They always say, yeah, I'm a little bit Indian, but I can't prove it. Too bad.
You know, as a baby, I fell off the wagon. Now, how does this translate into economics for you? Are you making some money here today?
Well, yeah, I did pretty well today. I'm retired. I'm a retired college counselor, so, you know, I'm on a fixed income. So this is like a little bit extra. It's going to help with Christmas and different things like that, you know. So, yeah, it helps.
Has the this virus, this COVID thing, and the tight economy affected you, do you think?
Yeah, it has. You know, like well, a lot of the shows they haven't had in the years. I've probably only been to about 3 in the last 2 years, 3 or 4. Normally, I would go to one every other week, you know, but this COVID or the pandemic has really hurt everybody. Now, it's not my main income, but a lot of people it is. A lot of these vendors, you know, this is their main income, and they really count on it. So it has made an effect on everybody, one way or another.
Okay, any final thoughts?
No, I just hope everybody has a great Christmas, and I appreciate talking to you, and I appreciate the Creek Nation and Tricia Fields.
Okay. I'm Gary Fife with Mvskoke Radio. What's your name? Where are you from?
My name is Angela Udine Markland. I'm from Tulsa. I'm Choctaw, Kiowa, and Sioux. And I have children that are with the Creek Nation and children that are in the Cherokee Nation.
What have you got out here to sell today?
I have beaded OU. I had OSU hats. I have beaded medicine wheels. I have a mask. I have beaded baby moccasins. I have tobacco, 4-directional cedar, regular flat cedar, and sage.
What does this market mean to you? I mean, have you been here before? Is this something you do on a repeat basis?
Yes, I have. I started out here with Trish about 9 years ago. I try to come every year, and this is the only one that I do. So I bead all year long, and then I come out here and do my one little show with Trish and see old friends, meet new friends. There's a lot of bartering going on every now and then. It's like we find something we want or that we know we need or something, and it's like, well, look, I'll trade you for this, or, you know, we'll make a deal, you know. And so it's a lot of camaraderie, and it's really good. And
in terms of economics, is it worth the effort? You say this is pretty much the only show you do. Does it give you the right returns?
sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But the thing of it is I come out here, like I said, I see old friends and I make new friends. It's relaxing. There's a lot of people that don't know a lot of our native ways. And it's like with the medicine wheels or the tobacco pouches or the cedar or sage, why do you have it? What do we do with it? And, and I answer the questions as best I can.
Do you hear a lot of people talking about doing their Christmas shopping here?
Oh, yeah. Starting in September, if Trish doesn't have flyers up, I make little temporary flyers and I hand them out to my friends and people that I know. And I was like, look, it's getting ready to come up. Save your money, and because you're come out here, you're gonna find stuff that you just gotta have. And they all kind of laughed, and it's like, one of my friends saw me earlier, and I said, well, I'm not here to make my $2.3 million. I'm out here just to relax, enjoy myself, have a good time, see old friends, and make some new ones. And if I make money, I make money. If I don't, God will bless me later on down the road.
That's a pretty good way to look at it. I was going to say, if it pays for itself, then it was worthwhile.
Yes. I mean, she's had to go up on our booth rent, but it's still worth it.
But appreciate it. You have a good one. Okay, test 1, 2. What's your name? Where are you from?
Genevieve Redshirt. I'm from Tahlequah, Oklahoma.
You have a lot of leather out here today. Tell me what you got for sale.
We have hand-tooled bags, belts, gun holsters, some wallets, T-shirts, just general stuff that we make.
And I love the smell of leather. Now, this show seems to be kind of a highlight for the season, or the start, somebody said. What does it mean to you and your economy?
Well, it really helps small businesses like myself. We're a family-run business. My husband and I are the ones who work on the leather products. Our children help put together the packages and send it out. It helps, shows like this really help small companies like ours. And our big push is everything we make, all of our products that we use, whether it's the leather sides, even the hardware, we purchase them from U.S. companies. That way we don't have to wait for anything coming off of a boat. Everything is right here, U.S., so there's no wait time. We'll drive it over to you if you need it. And so we really appreciate our customers that come, our new customers that we meet, or people who just spread the word about us. We truly appreciate that.
What Will Rogers says, my ancestors didn't come over on the boat, but they were here to greet it. Is that kind of what you would see with your product?
Yes, absolutely.
What about the fact that this is a Native American, authentic arts and crafts show?
Yeah, there's a lot of faux Native or Native inspired. There's a company called 8th Generation, and and I love the saying that they have. They say, inspired natives, not native inspired. And I love that, and that's exactly what this is. We have our stuff, any kind of designs we have, we could tell you the backstory about it, whether it's the Dakota floral, the geometric, plains, the woodland floral. We could explain what those are from. We don't do generic tribal words or say Aztec. No, we know what each of these symbols mean, from just a cross-looking type, to a flower. Each of them symbolize something, and we know it. It's not something that just we take to the print shop and print it. It's something that has a story behind it. So that's why we appreciate native markets like this, because we can tell you the story, and it's not just something that came from somewhere else.
Yeah, you can back it up with native heritage.
Exactly. And we share a part of ourselves, within our work, and also in our custom. And we're not like some of the bigger names where you have 500 people out there with the same kind of bags, the same kind of belt. Everything is unique, just like every person is unique. It's like every one of our things might have a flaw in there, just like every person has a flaw. So there's a lot of personality in our work and stuff, and it's something that you could see was professional but still made by a person. Mm-hmm.
Does this market represent a kind of a highlight for you for the year, or do you do other shows and things like that?
Yeah, we do other shows. We actually came back from, before Thanksgiving, we were in Santa Fe. But each show has its own crowd that comes to it, like their own regulars. And I look forward to each show, just like I was just speaking to someone who I met last year. And they said, "Oh, I remember you." And they like to show me their bags, show me how well they think that everything that they bought was working. So it's really, really nice to see that. And that's what I enjoy about this show.
3 o'clock drive. Courtesy of Toke Signals podcast.
Our country facing a couple of challenges like the virus and a really tight economy, which is going to get tighter. Does that affect what you do? Have you seen any difference?
Well, before doing these shows, we actually had a brick and mortar store in Tahlequah, and when COVID hit, we had to shut down for a few months. Government shut down. And that actually hurt us. We could never really catch back up. We were constantly making stuff, selling it to pay rent. So we made the decision not to renew the lease, and we invested in a shop at home, built up the shop, and moved everything online. The positive part about COVID was it taught people who were reluctant to buy online. It showed them how to shop online, whether they liked it or not sometimes. And so that really helped us. So doing everything online, now that we do everything online, it kind of, so COVID had its good and bad parts. So for us, it helped with our online aspect, and now we could, instead of having a store, we go to different shows.
Once again, the winner is 743-082.
We're seeing a lot of real variety of objects here. Not too many like what you're selling here. but I know that
See if the numbers line
quality leather goods and those that have been tooled are not exactly cheap, shall we say. What's the price range of the things that you see, and what do you try to
All right, well, you have won a cutting board.
sell, quote unquote, to your customers?
Well, we have like a price range.
All right, well,
That's it's kind of all over the place. We offer objects for like a card wallet, $10. Still good quality leather, good quality hardware, and something maybe, easier on the pocket. And then we also have our bigger bags of $425, our big satchels. Of course, the leather itself, just a side of leather, retail is $325. That's just a side of cow. That was, and then we cut it up, and also $425 is really not a whole lot, although it is, but we look at it at the end, it's not as much. But yeah, we try to offer just a good variety, a good range, just make it affordable, because we like to everybody to have something quality. So that's why we kind of focus, like we have bigger bags, and then we also have smaller bags, or bags where we mix wool, like a Pendleton wool with leather, to make it more affordable for someone who wants a nice bag but can't afford the $400 price tag.
Yeah, that is quite a kick in the backside there. But I was noticing here, just all really nice quality stuff. One that might even fit my little pistol too. Okay, do you expect to do well for this particular show?
Oh yes, I've already done well. I've actually had repeat customers, which is really nice. Yeah, I've already had people contact me online on our Instagram and on our Facebook. So, which is nice, and it's from people who have contacted their friends or their family members who are here, and contacted them, and they contacted me through social media. So, and yeah, this is a really good show for us, and we're grateful for it.
You're hearing about a lot of Christmas shopping getting done?
Yeah, well, you know what's funny is I've heard a lot of people saying they're doing shopping for themselves. Which, there's Christmas shopping, but I'm like, okay, well, we've had a rough year, so why not, right?
Okay, well, any last thoughts? And I'll get out of your way.
No, hopefully people made it out here, and I hope everybody did well, and I'm just grateful that people still come out to these shows and support us.
Okay, well, we'll cut it off right. Let me get your name. Where are you from? What tribe?
Jamie Bennett, and I live in Porum, Oklahoma.
Tribal affiliation?
Mvskoke.
What do you got out here for sale today?
Well, I've got some ribbon skirts, aprons. We've got some purses left, earrings. Let's see, what else? Oh, we've got some ribbon shirts and vests. So mostly fabric stuff that we've made.
Is this particular market kind of a highlight for the year, or is it something special?
This is the best show that we do throughout the year, other than the festival. Those are our two biggest ones that we come to, and Trish always does a good job of promoting her shows and stuff, so they always seem to turn out really well for us.
What about the fact that they make the effort to make sure this is an all-Indian show? No wannabes or something like that?
Well, I think that's perfect, because you're not going to, when you come here, you know what you're going to get, and you're going to get it from local artists, and you're not going to buy something that's made in China. It's like everything here is mostly handmade by local artists here on the reservation.
I hear a lot of comment about Christmas shopping. Do you hear that? Are people out here working on their Christmas list?
A lot of people are Christmas shopping, but a lot of people are shopping for themselves too, I think. So I think it's a mixture. But a lot of people, I think, are doing their Christmas shopping here, which is wonderful, because they're not going to Walmart and Target. They're buying it from us, so that's good. We're here to take care of them, and we've been doing lots of, getting lots of orders and stuff that they want it done by Christmas.
Is it important that it's all natives here?
To me it is. I think it's, yeah, for sure. I don't go to anything that's not all native myself. I just don't like to. I just like to go to these. I've been invited to craft shows, but these are the ones I like to go to because it's more of a social gathering. I got a lot of seen a lot of friends today and got to see people I haven't seen because COVID has knocked us out of so many shows that we normally would do. Usually the tribe has that Christmas one down there, and then the little TCIC has one that got knocked out. So those all got removed because of COVID, and so this is like a highlight, getting to come out here and see people, and
Let me take that question a step further. Because of COVID and a much tighter national economy, have you seen that in your sales here?
No, not really. I haven't noticed a big change in sales here today. I've sold a lot, and I haven't, had anybody complain about the prices of anything. It's affected our end because a lot of things have gone up, and then, if we have to order things online, the shipping has gone up. But I haven't noticed anybody spending any less or talking about spending less. Not today. Maybe in the back of their mind, they might have a budget before they come in, but I haven't heard anybody saying anything like that. Not that I'm aware of.
How many shows do you go to where you get to smell fry bread?
All of them. All the ones I go to always has some food. I mean, anytime there's natives together, you're going to have something getting cooked.
Usually. Okay, well, it looks like an interesting Christmas season. You have any final thoughts? How are you doing today, by the way?
We're doing great. The first thing this morning, we probably had already sold over half of our inventory because we make every single piece. Anything you see on my table, me and my mom made. So I don't have the luxury of ordering a bunch of aprons because I make each and every one of them. And almost everything I make is individual. I don't make anything the same over and over. So we sold a lot of our inventory down quick this morning. So we were thankful for that. That was a big blessing to us.
Kind of coast for the afternoon now.
The what?
Kind of coast, take it easy.
Yeah. And we go do shopping with my friends. Yeah.
I think I might do some of that myself. Well, thank you. Any final thoughts?
No, that's it. I guess I'm good. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, Gary, sounds interesting. Did you get some Christmas shopping done yourself?
Actually, I did. Don't want to talk about it too much because I think my wife is listening. So.
Oh, yeah? Is she a faithful listener to Mvskoke Radio?
Nah, I wouldn't say that, but she might be checking us out today and get an advance notice of what's under the Christmas tree when the tree goes up. But it was a good time. I always enjoy doing stories like that because you get to talk to people and from a variety of communities and things like that, walks of life, different views on different things.
Get you some fry bread?
No, it was such a disappointment. Their kitchen ran out twice, and they had sent somebody over to Walmart to get some more flour and stuff like that. But I thought, no, I can't deal with this, so I got to leave.
Oh, man. Missed out on the fry bread, but at least you got some shopping done.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, everybody, we're going to play a public service announcement for y'all from our stroke people.
Hello everyone, I'm Angela King with the Stroke Prevention Program. With the support of the Southern Plains Tribal Health Board and Mvskoke Nation, we want to help Native Americans in our community lower their risk for stroke and heart disease. 80% of strokes are preventable just by reducing health-related risk factors. If you are interested in how to reduce your risks, please contact me at 539-299-1530. Again, that number is 539-299-1530.
All right, and we're back. So we've had a kind of bump in the show. Our second guest has decided to no-show, and we were going to talk about the ARPA funds.
Right.
Yeah.
$2,000 people can begin applying for online.
On December 20th.
Yes, from Assistance Through the Tribes 2022 program. Now, the applications open at 11 a.m. December 20th at login.mvskokenation.com. And according to the announcement they've made, the applications will be processed by citizen roll number. So it won't do you much good if you just try to crowd up front and get your number in line early. They're going to go by roll number, which I think is not too bad of an idea to keep the avalanche from wiping out.
I hope it does. I know it's a lot of work for them to have to do, and they got such a small staff. I went to one of the staffing hiring events, and they're still hiring for those positions. So if anybody's looking for a job.
Yeah, particularly this time of year. Well, let's make sure that you enroll. Once again, it's login.mvskokenation.com. And, of course, there will be a lot of people trying to get in, so you might want to think about being patient. And I know those folks have been working their tails off trying to keep up.
Yeah, I think one thing to remember is that I don't think there's any near deadline with these.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's one thing people should keep in mind when applying. You don't have to apply the first day, first week, or even first month. You have another year, I believe. And if you don't have your Camp House portal set up, you should probably go ahead and do that beforehand, before the 20th, so that you're able to get on there. And everybody should, if you got the first one. You should have it done.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to help much with people's Christmas shopping. Programs like this generally take some time to get things processed, for the information to be filed properly, and then get the motions of the machinery rolling to produce the payments. So once again, login.mvskokenation.com, and that begins 11 a.m. on December 20th. And so you might want to do that for $2,000. It's not too much to laugh at. So anyway, okay, well, let's get on with what we've got today. We have Ben Yahola, who was actually part of the show earlier this year, and we had a problem with the recording. But that has been fixed, and so we're going to share what we can in the remaining time we have. So let her roll.
Okay. Oklahoma, Igana, I'm in Legida, Wonder, Snitta, Jock, Shosinete, Totkan, Ayaji, Irovishi, Nigi, Poma Biti, Igana, Mopto, Jihadi. Where the sun is shining, moon is rising, Jumligi Abaskagi. Mvskoke land, that's where I belong, on a Saturday night in the light of fire. Against the mother trees, moving with the leaves, shadows of us dancing, singing truth to power, love in the final hour. We listen and we sing, faith in the natural world, so simple and pure. Let me stay here around. The things about my life and the work I've done, it just came natural because, you know, we basically grew up in a society where we always have to begin to, as a child, you know, establish that we're different already. Yeah, because I did not speak English. My mother or father didn't either, and so we were in a society that Togobachi, over there in that area. That's where I grew up, over there in Hughes County, north of Holdenville, and it was a place to where I had no fear. Growing, you know, playing in the woods, and you know, of all the things that are there today, you know, but we never feared anything. And I don't remember anybody getting snake bit or, you know, spiders getting them. But, I mean, we'd step on catfish every now and then in the creek while we're out there, and you know, getting them by our hands, but nothing real serious. Until I went to school, and that's where I was taught fear, shame, guilt, like every day. And so I went through that period, you know,
in fear and praying every night, don't take me, don't take mine. That's, I think it was pretty harsh treatment, the brainwashing, basically, what I went through. But when I left there, I went back to the country, and I was afraid, but then eventually that fear went away again because, I was back home and around my usual surroundings. But over the years, we began to have an attitude of, I guess, wanting freedom and being able to express ourselves and freely. And for me, as a child going to boarding school, this first thing in line was, get your hair cut, and so they shaved us. They asked me what kind of haircut you want, So I was telling them in the language, just kind of showing them here, leave that there, that kind of thing. But so, it's entertaining for people because I'm just a little child who don't speak English, and so they would call people in, others in there, and they'd laugh at what I said. And I'm like, okay, I'm not really sure what's going on, but I'm in the world, a strange world. But so the haircut starts and everything starts getting cut off and the tears start to fall. And so went through that whole period, and of course get outside and everybody's kind of laughing, and so it kind of goes away right away. But but the trauma was ingrained. That's why I remember it, and hoping that my children would never go through that. They haven't, but others that had experienced that, I think it made some of us resistant to the system, and that's kind of the way I grew up. And the way I resisted was whenever a teacher would tell me something in my mind, they weren't going to get in my mind, they couldn't, and I would interpret it in my language first. And I was a little slower at my response, but I had two languages that I'm working with all my life. And some things did not make sense as to the way they would sound in English. I mean, in Mvskoke from English. And so I eventually, over time, I think by the time I was in the 12th grade, actually I graduated as 11th grader, but last year is when I realized that because I was critically analyzing issues in my research, instead of, I'm beginning to lose that Stijati analytical process. And then it bothered me so much. I'm like, oh gosh, I jumped up and it's like, they got to me. They got to me now. And so I went on like a 3-day journey of, not eating and drink water, and sort of come to the conclusion eventually that, I just have to be who I am. And so that was my journey to begin to express myself as me and nobody else.
Sometimes I lay under the moon, I thank God I'm breathing. Then I pray, don't take me soon, 'cause I am here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. 'Cause when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more wars, and our children will play one day, one day, one day. Ooh. It's not about win or lose, 'cause we all lose when the beat on the souls of the innocent. Blood-drenched pavement, keep on moving, the water stay raging. In this maze you may lose your way. Your way. It might drive you crazy, but don't let it phase you. No way, no way. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't wanna fight no more. There'll be no more wars, and our children will play one day, one day, one day. One day this all will change, treat people the same, stop all the violence, down with the hate. One day we'll all be free and proud to be under the same sun, singing songs of freedom.
I signed up for the draft as an objector. You know, it was my duty to say that I didn't like the war, because, hey, but if I go there, hey, I'm going to shoot back, yeah, I would, but just for myself, and probably my friends or whoever, comrades. Anyway, that's being like, that's part of my first act of political, I guess, some activity related to foreign wars. But Wounded Knee had happened, and so listening to about all the rights that we have and treaty rights violated, and so it makes a young man resentful of the authority. So we always questioned as best we could. But a lot of times it was through action that, you know, we just didn't want to participate in the mainstream way of life. And so ceremonial life was our sovereign way of living. And the things about, you know, the movement, then I went because I really I was into the movement, so I went to Minneapolis and lived there for a while, closer to the founders of the movement. Participated there in a lot of encampments and began to help them out. But there were times, because I could talk the language, they always called on me to pray, and it wasn't I didn't know how to pray, except just to ask the ancestors, and, you know, just talk about, you know, the power of nature, life, and all this, and mainly because I can touch that life. And talking about the spirit, it's like, well, I didn't know, but eventually, you know, I began to feel in my heart that the spirit is there, and ultimately it began to coalesce into strengthening my I say mind, body, and spirit. As I'm growing into a social consciousness as Istijadi. And I think comes a time where, you know, we realize that we've reached a level when we stepped out of that box of that group thinking that we have to talk like everybody else, but anymore, then we come to realize that, you know, I'm going to be me, and beginning to listen to everybody and respect everybody, and that's where I believe that level of spiritual consciousness is beginning to settle in, and so listening to everything that's all around you, and like when I'm at a place sometimes that you feel a cool pocket of cold air. It's like, wow, this is different. And say thank you, you know, because it feels good. And other indigenous people I've come across with in ceremonies that say, you know, that's when their understanding is the Spirit is there when they're in prayer. And then you feel a breeze kind of coming around you like that, and then it's like they just came and acknowledged and took your words. And your words, it's like, oh, they always said ceremonial grounds. Is that we don't need a huge audience. All we need is love, faith, humility, and obedience. When you make an announcement, the wind will take it, and you have excited the molecules that are connected universally, and then the wind takes it.
Here's one I've always wanted to share with the tribe, the people, Mvskoke Creek Nations. He's one of our own. Wrote this back in the early 1800s. James Gregory Roan wrote a poem, and I found it, and I really liked it. And it's called The Green Corn Dance. Let me see if I can remember it. My children are happy until this day. The ashes of the fire are blown away. The path so long led from the blue sea.
That's just beautiful. I love hearing his music and his singing and his story, really.
Yes, that was wonderful. It would kind of been nice if we could have finished the piece, but we're running out of time.
Yes, we are, but it can be watched on Mvskoke Vision, the YouTube channel.
Right.
The rest of the interview.
Thank Jared Moore for that piece, by the way. And we have a couple of announcements, community kind of things that are coming up that will be happening in our area. And of course, you want to remember on the 20th at 11 a.m., your applications for the assistance will be accepted at login.mvskokenation.com.
And if you're listening, congratulations, because I'm telling everybody else the 21st.
Okay, this is what we've got here. It says the 20th, so all right, blame it on someone else.
All right, guys, so since December 6th till December 18th, the Mvskoke Riders, which is the veterans motorcycle crew, they have been doing a motorcycle, they're going to do a motorcycle toy run this Saturday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., but they have been collecting toys, and you can still collect or take a toy to them at the Veterans Affairs Center here in Okmulgee. And if you would want to ride and be a part of it, you can. It's open to all riders, not just veterans or Mvskokes or Mvskoke veterans. But for information for registration, you need to contact Paul B. Moore at 505-379-6921 or his email at bemore@hotmail.com. You can also contact the Veterans Affairs Office at 918-732-7739, and these are for ages 5 to 12.
And that date is December 18th, right?
Yes, that's this Saturday.
You got it from 11 to 2.
That's when they're going to take the toys from starting at Tulsa Creek Indian Community down to the Veterans Affairs Building. They're doing a drive. And so you can still take toys there. And some more on that day, they are doing a food truck meal for other Mvskoke veterans. And that will be at 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. And each veteran can have a guest with a proof of status and citizenship. But we are about out of time here.
Well, we did the best we could with the change in schedule at the last minute that we were not expecting.
Not expecting.
But luckily we had Ben Yahola's material to share, and that was just as fine as we've had.
Yeah.
We're going to have him back. You know, as I was listening to him, he said, you know what, this
We're about to get cut off here, Gary.
Yeah, I said, it reminds me of Bob Dylan.
Who? Bob Dylan? Is that what you said? Yeah,
Yeah.
the singing. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
and his philosophy. Anyway, Mabo Hedgetskut, we appreciate you being with us here on Mvskoke Radio here on 1240 The Brew. You've been listening to Mvskoke Radio. Join us again next week for more local, tribal, and community news and updates. Mado.